Greetings, this is the Timeshare Traveler. Today is episode 163, and finally, I'm doing a video in my car. I think that's hilarious that the Timeshare Traveler living in full-time and timeshares, why not? Eventually you have to do a video in your car. So what I'm going to talk about today is doing timeshare Thursday through Saturday getaways, and what I'm going to talk about is short breaks can be as long ones, and why Thursday through Saturday versus a Friday through Sunday. Take advantage of work remote for short trips. Again, that's what I'm taking into account as well. And I'll give you some example short trips that I've done, they've been just fantastic. And then the last thing is I choose a theme whenever I'm doing one of these. So before I go into dive into the details, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my channel, and I'll be right back. So hang in there, and I'll tell you all about it. Hi, this is Cliff, and I'm the Timeshare Traveler. Welcome to my channel. The purpose of my channel is to educate those who love traveling in timeshares. I've been an owner for 15 plus years at timeshare ownership. I have elite ownership with Marriott, Hilton, and Worldmark. I have published over 100 timeshare video reviews, and I've published over 95 timeshare tips. I can be found on Facebook at Timeshare Trav, at Twitter, Timeshare Trav, and on the web at www.timesharetraveler.com. So I'm back, and short breaks can be as good as long ones. So, here's the truth. Life can be hectic, too much pressure, and so forth. And this is an opportunity for life balance. And timeshares, in my opinion, give you a great opportunity. So an opportunity to explore something new. New is always exciting, and I think if we bring some variety into our life and not always be stuck in the grind, it really makes a difference in your life quality as it goes. And a full day of rest. I pick the full day is Saturday and Friday evening into Saturday evening, and just stay a little bit longer at the timeshare. You can stay usually at the properties after checkout and use the facilities. So I've done that tons of times. I choose a place with a nice pool and jacuzzi, so you can offer the sort of relax and do nothing moment, even if you're out hiking and doing various things like that. And I plan to unwind even if the situation's an adventure. So it's just a good break is a way to unwind. So that's why short breaks are so, in my opinion, if you can get to a position where you can afford to do that's fantastic. So why Thursday through Saturday? Well, Friday through Sunday works, but Thursday through Saturday, the traffic is a killer, in my opinion, on most large. So you're fighting traffic, and they're just very stressful. So it's like you're trying to get away, but you have to fight traffic. So it almost takes even longer then to unwind once you get to where you're going. Versus a Thursday, it's usually, you have the regular commute traffic potential, but I try to leave a little early, get there if I can for the 4 o'clock. So the other thing is less points. So Thursday and a Friday are less points than a Friday and Saturday. Usually about, it's 2/3 the points. So that means you can do this more often. So, hey, I'm up for that. And again, there's usually also more availability. The likelihood of getting a Thursday, Friday is higher than a Friday or Saturday. I find that Saturday seems to be the hardest day because some people try to do just one night. So they come up on Saturday morning, stay there. And so that Saturdays tend to be gone. But if you want to do a full 2 days, Thursday, Friday seems to be more available. Just a general rule. Again, I mentioned traffic is better. Leaving a city on a Thursday versus a weekend traffic can be, again, to me, it's about the tension of the drive. Maybe the extra hour matters as well that might take, but it's the tension that builds up. So that whole idea is to get away and relax. And if the first part is tension, and then the end coming back is also tension because everybody's coming back from their weekend. Whereas if you're just off cycle just a little bit, it can be so much more relaxing. And again, I try to arrive before 4 p.m. so I can get the full stay in the timeshare. So that's what I love to do. That's why Thursday versus Saturday. But again, if you can't do that, the Friday through Sunday, still, if you can make that break, I think that's very valuable. The next part is take advantage of the work remote for a short trip. Again, I'll work a half day on Friday and sort of take the afternoon, and then I have the full day on Saturday, and I'll just drive back late because I'm not worried about rushing back and trying to beat the traffic or work around the traffic and so forth. So I'll work a little bit remote, and then I'll make it up on Sunday, but that's just my job. Each person has to figure out how that can work. half day Friday, all day Saturday is very relaxing. Returning late. I love the hot tubs and the pools just as it's sort of like a option, and then the other things if I'm hiking or doing whatever. So I get a full day of unwinding, and I know that if, my worst case scenario is I hang out by the pool and I read a book. That is fantastic, and then the other things become bonuses for me. Okay, example short trips. I live in the Bay Area, and so my examples are Bay Area driven, but there's a lot that you can do. Angels Camp. I love Angels Camp, actually. It's I have there's a great museum there, and I've gone to it multiple times, and I'll go again. There's Mark Twain, and they also have the Gold Country, and they have a lot of history of what it was like to live there. And it's just a big giant museum. It's got 2 giant buildings. You can focus on more of the farming side of how the agricultural, and then you can talk about the gems and the various things in the gold rush, stuff like that. So there's those 2 kind of areas, and I find it kind of interesting. And it's kind of a slow town, so it's kind of a nice relaxing town as well. And there's also the museum I mentioned, and there's wine tasting actually in the foothills of the Sierras. So that's my Angels Camp. Santa Rosa, which is north of San Francisco. It's wine tasting. There's a Charles Schulz Museum. Everybody wants to learn about peanuts. And then you can hike the coast. There's redwoods. There's all kinds of hiking to do. And I just love the smell of the redwoods forest when you're walking in it, or just the rush of the ocean. Nothing like having, some of the wine. You've gone to wine tasting, and then you go to the coast and enjoy a bottle of wine while the sun sets. And so that's can be very relaxing for me. And then my last example is visit South Lake Tahoe. And again, I like the mountain fresh air. The wind, somehow the wind is just different. It's kind of, I don't know if it's up in the mountains or something, but the sound of the wind through the trees is similar to the sound of ocean for me. It's kind of a wave. It's not a continuous blowing. It's a give and take, and it feels like the wave sounds to me. And again, then there's also the activities, the lake activities and the casinos. So plenty of activities to do. So those are my sort of example short trips that I recommend for people. And lastly, choose a theme. Angel Camp is a history theme. What was life like 150 years ago? Or even 100 years ago? And sort of, I like to play with that and think about, well, what were the good parts that maybe I could bring into my life? Santa Rosa was wine tasting. Good wines, but less expensive than Napa. So to me, I'm not a wine connoisseur. I do like wine, but I'm not a connoisseur. So maybe the Napa wines are better. I can't really fundamentally tell the difference, and I don't mind spending less money. And it's a little more relaxed. It's not as crowded. So I kind of like that. I love the idea of watching the sunset over the ocean or walking among the redwoods. It's just the smell of redwoods is a unique smell, and it's just it's something I just totally enjoy. And I can just really unwind and meditative for me. South Lake Tahoe is a mountain getaway for me. Sounds of the wind in the mountains, I just love it. And I can go see a show at the casino, or lots of restaurants and things to do there. So I find that really good. Anyway, hope you like this video, and I really recommend you do short trips. It's just healthy for you. So don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe.